Okay, let's see what we've got now. It looks like YouTube has accepted the stream, and X is well. Had to go speak it. Uh, it's not as bad as last time. It's still buffering, but I need to figure out another solution. The last one uh, ended up with no video on either channel. Also not good. Let's see. Let's get started on something. Let's go here. As I said before, when you couldn't see me, I'm wearing my Falcon Heavy shirt because there was some cool stuff that went on uh, over in Starbase, and let's take a look. Let's turn on our audio. Sound. Come on. Hey, it's Mark. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. That's right. You guys do it early. Let me send you a an email, and then we'll get started. Let's see. Where is that? Copy and come back to email. We'll do a new one real quick. We'll do Mark. 13th, and we'll paste this in there for you. Hit send. Okay, next up, we need to pull up a window to talk about what's going on, because I don't want to use the window that it's in. What I could do is duplicate, and then move it to a new window, and then move that new window to a new screen. We'll tap to new window, move the new window over here, shrink it up a little bit. There we go. Maybe you turn off 4K because X was fine without me using 4K. See how it goes. I don't think I can turn off 4K while I'm streaming, so I'll have to do that for next week. But let's go to presentation view. And then we will go and find our window and turn it on. Window capture. And I don't have anything about Isuzu on screen. They want to talk about Isuzu. I'm here now. Do I get the right window? Same. I guess I'll know if the shape is wrong now. Notifications, projectors. Not that. Okay, I'm gonna assume it's the second copy. And then I'll adjust the size and see. So no, it's the first copy. Oh no, it was. Just slow to react. Okay, there we go. Done. But I never did connect the audio. Sound. And I'm gonna use the Virtual cable. And the baby 69 is followed. Thank you. And we're going to then go to turn on, unmute the sound, I should say. There we go. Take a look at this. I thought it was pretty fun. Right at the Sonic Boom. And they just caught a, what, 40-story building? Plucked it out of the air. That was really cool. So let me check out the X stream again to make sure if it's any better than before, and then we will get on to some I pulled out for the notebook. Let's go to the notebook and scroll back up so I can see if anybody joined us. Up there's Mark. Send, and we're going to show you on stream, and then we're also going to send you back my projector so you can see what I see. There's the window capture. I can't do the projector. I thought that was an option before, but what I'll do is I will show you the window capture. At least that way you see what I see, which right now is nothing. Let's go back. Good morning, Mark. How are you? Is my mic on? Yes. All right. Is your mic on? So I've got the notebook. Let me get started on the first one there, and then, whoops, I see why it went away like that. Let's pull it back. I put the notebook on the same screen that the controller is on, and pull it over. There we go. And Mark's not muted on my side, and yeah, I'm not muted on my side. Let me mute the virtual cable again, though, in case I pull up something with music on it. We got struck 3 times on the stream for the Wii Robot event, and thankfully it was not as bad as it could have been for or as it was for some of the other channels. Let's see. Let me make sure that my monitor is set for Mark. Maybe it's you guys are hearing it and I'm not. Let's go to collab cam and settings to make sure it's set to monitor. Properties. Monitor and output, but not to the virtual cable. Okay. And same for the other instance. Monitor only for the second one. That's not helpful. There we go. And Mark's in the first one, so it wasn't that setting that did us wrong. Next question is the audio monitor device is here. Stereo.
Testing
There,
1, 2,
I hear
3.
you. Welcome.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, hello. Did you watch this?
I did.
What did you think?
I thought it was spectacular. It was.
Oh, yes.
It was unbelievable. Catching, like you said, a 40-story building with a pair of chopsticks. Like unbelievable. It was spectacular. And on a first attempt, which was really amazing. As Elon has said in the past, excitement is always guaranteed. Success isn't. So
it's true.
it was going to be a spectacle in either way.
Right.
Luckily for everybody, it was a successful test as well.
Yes, I noticed that it kind of was still on fire when it got cut because they were talking about, bring it in, catch it, and then put it back on the base, but you don't wanna put it back on the base if it's gonna set the base on fire.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if they had enough water to turn that thing back on, but, that was incredible. I was half asleep because I was like, "Oh, let me set an alarm and try to watch this," and, I missed the launch. They were well in the coast, so I had to rewind it and take a look, and then it was pretty cool. The part that confused me was when they switched the ship and it was going to the Indian Ocean. Was it did it make it into the water, or did it explode, or did it do both?
It did both.
Oh, okay, 'cause
The orientation showed that it did land upright in the ocean,
uh,
but then it started to tilt almost immediately, which of course happens when you're not landing on solid Earth.
right.
And then
Ready to bring it
I
back.
believe they did detonate something
Oh, okay.
to destroy it.
Okay.
So
So it got
as it
in.
fell,
Yeah.
I think they detonated it.
Okay, so it got in, and then, like, the Falcon 9's in the water, so then they blew it up.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause, from the buoy was bouncing around, and I was like,
Well, in that part of the world, it's dark too, right? So we couldn't see
"That
too
too."
much from the buoy. You could see the flame as it was coming down, but
Yes.
and then you saw the bit of an explosion too. So
Yes.
I think they did detonate it, although I didn't hear officially if they did. But based on the flame ball, I'm guessing they did.
Yeah, and then they had a really kinda confusing, set of angles. They were in different places than they normally are, and again, combined with my not actually being fully awake, it was it was interesting. Um, so I didn't label almost anything, this week. I thought I was gonna come back and do that, but I did not. I did wanna talk about these pictures of the Robo Van. I wanna see how he spells it before I use that goofy pronunciation. Uh,
Row, row,
Robovan.
Robovin. Yes, I think
Mark
that
found these
joke went over
uh,
many people's heads.
it did, it did. Mark found these awesome pictures of the cargo area, so I was thinking, like, if you use this thing for boarding, then you'd have to follow it up with something because there didn't appear to be any space inside for luggage, but it's got a trunk. I thought that was pretty
A
cool.
trunk and a frunk. Yep.
Oh, it's a front too. Oh, this is both of them. Oh, you're right. One's white and one's red.
Yep.
Wow. It's a gigantic frunk. Like it.
Although for 17 people, which was what was demonstrated, I don't
Yeah.
know if that's enough luggage room if you're coming from the airport,
Not
because
at
you got to
all.
believe everyone's going to have a bag.
At least one.
So that would be at least 14 pieces of luggage,
Yeah.
and don't think there's 14 pieces in this shot.
Right. And at least a shaving kit and a toothbrush. Man. And he said 20, and somebody said that he said it holds 20, but I it might be just misremembering, but I
Seats,
thought he said
actually,
seats 20.
seats were only 14, but
Right,
they
I
did
counted
say
them again
something
and
about
again.
maybe they're talking about putting a handrail in the middle where some people could stand.
Yeah,
Uh,
you could do
but
that.
um, but when you saw the video, there's not all that much space in between the two sets of facing each other seats.
Exactly. What I'm hoping that this is that, just like the Bright Drop and the Rivian have 2 different sizes, I hope that's what this is, and this is the short one. Because if you make it longer, you can put in another 2 rows of seat, plus, when you do cargo, you can really load it up.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, I think some of the stipulations on size are going to relate to the curves inside a boring tunnel. I think
Yeah,
that's going to be something that is weighed, but there's nothing to stop them from make a boring tunnel addition as opposed to a longer one that would be on the outside streets.
right. Or, the short one fits in the tunnel, so they start with that because that's where they're gonna, reduce their costs in boring, and then, for the
Yep.
longer one, maybe it starts as cargo or They don't have to come out at the same time. We saw that with the Volkswagen and the Mercedes. They did not come out at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one, um, you had an article about he confirms the inspiration behind the van.
Yes. So Elon had said that that his inspiration has come from Art Deco trains of the 1950s. So
I see
someone
that.
posted on X saying, "Hey, is
Contest.
trains what you were after here?" And he said,
Yeah.
"Absolutely. That's where the inspiration came from."
Can you imagine this thing's coming through a boring tunnel? It looks exactly like a weird subway.
Yep,
Yeah, they showed this one, one other, and then the little troop carrier from iRobot.
that's right. Yeah, we did a comparison on the Tesla Life with a screenshot showing the robot, the car, the Cybercab,
Yeah,
and the transport or the robot, the robo van, and
man,
and their counterparts in the I Robot movie. And I thought that
exactly.
was really good.
Yeah. Good morning, Anders. Um, let's or good evening, Anders. I'm sorry. You're ahead of us, not behind us. Yeah, this one here. Like I said, I didn't label any of them in time. Like I would come back and do. This one is this one is the one I kept telling you guys I'm going to keep bringing up until next month. So if you're in the region that this applies for the Valley Can, and you've got a gas mower, they're doing cash for clunkers. You bring it in, and they'll give you an EV mower and get that thing off the streets. And
Off the lawns, you mean?
yes, and I will put a link to the program in the X chat and the YouTube chat. Even though X doesn't want to hold the stream. So what I think I might do, Mark, is X isn't working on restream to the service or direct with me being at 4K. So I think I'm going to run it back to 1080, most practical,
Okay.
because I do like on X, but I don't think it's the most fun to watch if doing this. All right, so click here and back into the notes, and we're gonna see what Sawyer Merritt's saying today. This one was pretty cool. Hyundai has begun producing their electric SUVs at their $7.6 billion plant in Georgia. So if they get the right batteries in these, they'll be able to qualify for the tax credit without leasing or any tricks.
Exactly. So they'll be able to qualify for that federal incentive.
So do we know if these ones are launching with NACS or if it's just the new edition they showed us? And
Yeah, just a new addition so far. There's been no. They're still all CCS plugs, as far as I know, even coming out of this plant in Georgia.
weird choice. That would be the perfect opportunity to just have fresh stock ready to go.
Yeah.
Unless they wasn't ready or they didn't have enough of them. But this is
Well,
clever.
we also know that Tesla hasn't green lighted it for that company yet.
Oh, that's probably part of it too. I wonder if they have them like are doing
Yeah,
a Tesla and just like load them
you
up in the lot.
couldn't produce a car with just a NACS plug, and then it doesn't work at NACS. Tesla NACS stations. That would be a real faux pas,
Yeah, they get halfway out of town and they're like, oh, this fits. Uh-oh.
and it don't work.
Yes. What's up? 01010. Hello, good to see you. Yes. So the next one we've got is this one's from Inside EVs, and it is still spinning. That's what it's doing. What do I want to do to make this thing go faster? Got something I can just close. Maybe this one. Not using it. Eh, got rid of my save and close button. Save, and then physically close it. There we go. And let's refresh on that. There we go. We got an X on it. And uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now the mouse is all wonky. All right, well, while we wait for Inside EVs, let's try another one of theirs. It's in the wrong window now. Move this to the one you're looking at. And I am spinning all over the place. I don't know. That didn't do what I wanted it to do, did it? There's another window I can get rid of. Get this. And still no save close. Save these. Close that too. There we go. I'll be back. Do I need to switch feeds? Internet feeds. I think I messed up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you are. Okay. It's like I don't see anything on screen. I don't hear you. Mark says, "Who would buy a cybercab for 30 grand?" That's a good question. I think it's if our theory about the pedals and steering wheel kind of being in there, and they kind of treat it like lot porters, and then they don't get their approval as fast as they want, and then all of a sudden they've already deployed these things everywhere, and now they can sell them. I think that would be awesome for folks who used to buy like the CRX and the Toyota A86. It's not convertible, but the Miata, stuff like that. They'd be practical. Anders says, "I want." Yes. Oh, it'd be even cooler.
I wonder
Huh?
that the our thought has been, wouldn't it be nice to produce both vehicles and not Osborne yourself, work as long and as hard as you want on the Cybercab, just continuing to say it's a Cybercab, and then in the background know that there is the ability to fit it with pedals and wheels, and it would be completely able to run on its own. So if they do run into regulatory issues or they have overcapacity at the line, they could turn around and say, okay, now these things go on sale today for 35,000. Here we go,
There you go. Yeah.
and start to roll with it.
Yeah.
But
It's a
but
model.
I don't, even though we have heard Franz say they could build both platforms, there's a number of common things that could be used.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will be the case. I
Probably not.
really
Yeah.
wish it would be, but not sure if it would.
Yeah.
Another thing about the Cybercab was stated that its battery is about 38
Oh wow.
kilowatt hours.
So that would
So
be
200
150.
mile range,
Mhm.
about a 200-mile range, they're thinking. And another piece of information is that it is only going to be able to be inductive charged.
Yeah,
There
that part.
is no port. There's no NAX port. So
Yeah.
they are going to have to be charged at specific places, or Tesla will sell kits to people that buy them to install their own um, mat that would go in their garage or driveway where they could have the car charge.
Yeah, I think that part will be the easy part because we saw they kind of had that little hint in that one. Was it the shareholder brief or where we saw the
Yep.
picture of the Model S? Yeah. So that part I think should be easy. The hopefully this thing shares a lot, but continues to advance on what we saw with Cybertruck, where you've got the 48-volt, the ether loop, and so then it's really just a gamepad and brakes and the accelerator has been by wire since the at least the Model S, if not the Roadster, right?
Yep.
So it's not that they can't do it unless there's some regulation that says that, but there can't be because then the Cybertruck wouldn't happen, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. I don't think the 48-volt architecture would be much of an issue now that they've kind of scoped it out with the Cybertruck. They've probably discovered problems or issues with Cybertruck, and they've probably designed some of them out now, especially with the next model, if it is indeed using 48-volt technology.
right. Yeah, it doesn't even have to use that, but I don't know. It just seems it'd be easier not having to have those giant wires everywhere because this is supposed to be the budget model, and if it's got big honking cables everywhere, that copper costs money. So I could see the induction pad being very near the one end of the battery, and it's already got by-wire steering. We know because it doesn't have a steering wheel, and flip one on, call it a day, and then maybe just make it like at the Model 3 long range dual motor, right, or dual motor long range. This is the Cybercab steering wheel edition, and then when it's ready, you can just go to this.
I, th- I think that I think that would be a home run for Tesla. Like I really think if you want to drive shareholder value, that would push it through the roof. If
Yeah,
they were to come out with an announcement like that when they're actually ready to sell the vehicle, I think that would be remarkable, and that would be great foresight. But with Elon's comments about autonomy, maybe he's sandbagging. Maybe that's what he's doing. And if you were trying to sell it in that way, what a better way to say that we're going 100% into autonomy and then introduce the Cybercab and say nothing else of the sort. Just
this is
move
one of
on
the
the
there's no
Cybercab.
others. Yeah,
Exactly. That would be the way to do it, and that would be a spectacular move if it actually happens that there is a car that they can sell with pedals and wheels as they wait for regulatory approval in many markets.
yeah, because if it's already there and ready, and then you've got all these people who have them talking to their senator, talking to their rep, saying, "Hey, I've got this thing. It doesn't need these pedals,
Yeah.
and it's a revenue that you guys could tax because you put a tax per ride that you're missing out on because I can only Uber one car at a time, but I can robo taxi a fleet of 30 and have them all cleaned and charged with my small business resources. What do you
Yep.
want to do, Mr. Senator?" I think that'd be harder for them to ignore. And then they also get around the whole problem with the 12 states that are dealer captured, where you've already obtained them the same way we do today, but the dealer's not running a taxi network. Doesn't mean it'll be easy in New York. That's gonna be a whole nother one to work with. But I think that will allow them to navigate these political waters a little easier uh, than the fights they've been fighting thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, New York is going to be knocked down, drag out. I didn't read this article, but it was something fun to talk about. Why autonomous trucks are harder than everyone expected. And since that is something you actually have some insight into, I was curious what you thought about it.
I'm not sure if it's harder than everyone expected. I think the benefit of truck traffic autonomous is that they do have the option of running from warehouse to warehouse on interstates. So there could be a lot less, last mile delivery if they could get the majority of the trucks on the highways on the interstates to be going from depot to depot autonomously, and then they could introduce the last mile or 10 miles that have to be traveled inside the city core.
Yeah,
Um, but again, this requires not only Tesla but everyone to get their version of FSD flawless, and
yeah,
that's what has to be done. I think on the highways as step one will probably be easier for any of the companies to navigate that. But I think the last mile or 10 miles is going to be the issue within the cities. And that is something that, of course, Tesla faces today. And many of the autonomous driving companies out there have to use backup streaming drivers to help them out of jams because the cars can't completely navigate without maybe a nudge or a help from someone external through some sort of video link or something like that. So it becomes a question of, having autonomy work in every case is the difficult part. Having it work
Right.
in maybe 75%, it's going to be a lot easier.
I think so. Yeah. We my mom does OTR, and the amount of times I hear that she's waiting at a depot or waiting at fuel, it's like, man, they waste a lot of your time. Doesn't sound like they're
Yes,
driving.
they do.
So yeah, if these things could go between specialized depots, like where they're sure the off ramp is good, and then the entrance is just handled correctly, and then the OTRs could come and just pick up the loads ready to go, and then drop them, and scan a QR code or whatever, and just be done with it. Um, that could add some efficiencies. Or like we saw a couple years ago with the lady who demonstrated operating the heavy equipment across the country, and she was running like four pieces of equipment, and she could set off like basic macros and paths, and we're way further ahead in the technology than what she was driving, and she was running four heavy rigs, so it could be something like that. We also saw uh, Waymo and them do the tablet and the here, let me help you out, but BMW said, here's a racing sim chair and a screen, and it doesn't go all that fast, but you got the wheel and the gear shift and everything, and that was their solution for handling remote parking that the car couldn't process. Uh, you would have to scale that, but it's still mostly autonomous, so you don't need as many as if it was just fully remote streaming, like some folks had tried to say that this event was. I believe
Yeah.
that was the case for Optimus, or at least in some points, but I don't think that was the case for the cars. Mr. Butcher Lunacy says significantly more effective and likely for Tesla to be able to pull off the two-seat French market Model Y uh, for 30,000, in my opinion. Just go with that. Even includes a charge port. That is a good point, and it's already got a massive cargo area, and they already make it today,
Yep.
and they just don't have to put in the rear seats. Can they make a profit off 30 on that one though? Because the Model Y starts at what, 40, right?
With the tax rate,
With the incentive, yeah.
the
So it's like
tax,
50.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that they're probably going to. I think the $25,000 car is pretty well dead. I just think that inflation has got that beat.
Yeah.
But maybe 30, maybe 32, you could get there. But of course, the Model 3 standard range,
It was
you
all
can
over it.
get that down to under 30, 35 at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And in some states, even a little below that. So
Right.
it becomes a question of, but again, if you lower the price by $5,000, you open it
That many
up
more
to a
people.
whole new range of people. So going
Yeah.
from a 35 to a 30, and remember, incentive still made. If the batteries are produced in America, is that going to knock that down to 23?
It certainly could, and I like that. Uh, Includes charge port. But the I think not include the charge port. It because the charge port you had to get it up to human waist, and not like a human waist height, and that means you got to run at least a meter of wiring up through the car versus with the wireless. If it's just down next to the pack, you're looking at a foot, 10 centimeters or so of connecting. If it's not part of the battery shell, then there's no connection because it's
Yeah,
just for the shell. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not a lot of money, but I mean, if you don't have to spend $50 on cabling or $300 on cabling, depending on
And keep in mind that that Elon during the 1010 event mentioned this was a prototype.
that too.
So again, we did find out that those wheels were staggered, which is a surprising choice.
Yeah.
A 21-inch wheel on the back and an 18-inch wheel on the front.
That
That
is
is a
really staggered
surprising choice.
because
Yeah,
it's
and
only 5 to 10 millimeters on the X, and that's a much larger vehicle. And the
it's
5 to 10 is depending on which year you got. If you got the launch one, it was the 10. If you got mine, it's a 5.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a surprising choice. I'm not sure why, but it's got to be for some reason. Maybe it's cargo capacity or the weight that could go in the back. I'm not
Hopefully it's
sure
that
as to
because
why it's such a variance in tire sizes.
it's got that giant trunk. I'm hoping that's what it is. We also have to remember that 30K before tax incentive robotaxi is about as likely as ever seeing a 39 before incentive Cybertruck. And that's kind of what we were getting at with the anti-Osborning effect. They can just do this
Yeah,
thing in public. They can take their time, and then when they are ready and they launch it at 36, they can say, oh well, we never said that the Model Next was 30K. We said the Cyber Taxi was 30K. This is
yeah,
the Model Next,
yeah.
and then they don't have that pushback and that disappointment from people feeling like they got the okey doke.
Told
Because
one thing and shown another. Yeah,
right, Elon's talking about hey, concepts are always better, or the real thing is always better than the concept.
yeah.
And
Casey, I just got to take a minute to fix something. I'll be right.
yeah, sure, okay, I'll yep. So with the model, with the Cybertruck, that was definitely the case where we didn't see 500 miles out of the gate. We didn't see um, the 6 seats. There was a lot of stuff that Elon said, okay, that's in there, and then it wasn't. Not to say that the one we got wasn't good, and not to say that the dual motor wasn't better than they promised the dual motor, but they probably would be best to avoid that happening again. Like you said, we're not going to see the 39 maybe ever, or at least not many years on the line, and probably like inflation adjusted. Like, hey, look, this is 39,000 and 2017 dollars. Here you go. 2019, 19, 17 was the Roadster and the semi truck. uh, so the other one that we tried to load up that set their spin was this one, Ultium. I want to wait for Mark on that one. Let's move this one over here. Move tab. Inside EVs. There it goes. All right, so this one is how old is this? It's been sitting in my tabs for a minute. 1 month, a month ago. The Ford Ranger EV, a new era of electric affordability. So we've got a Ranger EV. The cost has been a limiting factor. This isn't going to be the Ranger that we're used to, like the smaller, older Ranger. This is going to be the new, like Maverick style one. This is the current hybrid Ford Ranger. Ford has been secretly developing a low-cost EV platform for years. This dedicated team's vision. This I think is the one that Farley said he doesn't even have access to the building. I bet you he does, but it's like paperwork. I need you to make me a key. um, anyway, the literalness of him not having access doesn't matter. Reports suggested this model the first model on this platform will be a crossover price around 25,000, and just like the Teslas, we'll see, or the range will be limited, or something to that effect. Uh, it's supposed to launch effectively next year, 2026, with a compact pickup truck and vehicle designed for ride sharing. That sounds familiar. And these models would be manufactured at the Louisville plant. Ford Ranger as a plug-in version, source Ford. The other thing to look at with this, though, is if you do a EV on a hybrid, there are compromises, but are they as significant on a truck? I don't know that they are because you've got more room to deal with stuff if you turn a plug-in hybrid to an EV pickup truck. Talking about the Ranger, Mark.
Yep.
Yeah, and I wish them luck. And I don't know if they're going to get the 25,000 any more than Tesla got the 30 uh, on the Cybertruck. Just being real. And I also don't know if a rideshare version of Ranger is going to be comfortable because the back seats of most of these small pickup trucks are not passenger friendly, unless that's
But
effectively
some don't require a crew cab.
right. Oh, you saying just do the like Tesla style 2 seats period?
Or if it's like in some cases, the older pickups used to have like a
Third
half
seat?
back row, right?
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
like there was a couple of jump seats in the back because
Kacey.
they didn't typically have people in their seats at all. But in the rare case that they did, they had a jump seat. So it depends on your situation.
Yeah. I guess more options, then the market will sort out what they like and what they don't like.
Yep.
So not to discourage Ford, you do what you do, and then we'll see what the people actually want. Versus, it's like I keep saying with the boring tunnel, all the people who start screaming, "Why not put a train in it?" Why not try it out? And if it doesn't work, you can get a smaller train to shove in there, or a tiny bus, which would probably be better because it's not built for trains. So this one I say for you, Mark. We're going to talk about RIP Ultium. Looks like GM is shifting strategy a little bit on their battery situation.
Yeah. Bit of a head scratcher here. Not really sure why they would drop the name unless they felt the name comes with bad baggage at this
Yeah,
point. There
like
was
this
a
on our
delay for assembling packs, and there was a real slowness for rolling out their initial EVs. But that has been corrected, I understand, based on the
right.
number of Equinoxes and Blazers that I see on the roads here, as well as Lyrics and Silverados. So I think they're over that hump of assembling packs. But why would you chop the name Ultium? I really don't know. They
Yeah,
already
like,
paid for it. They already
yeah,
trademarked it. They already have put it on signs on some of their buildings. Why would you completely get rid of it? Unless, of course, it brings some sort of negative connotation, or if people are confusing the Chevy brand with Ultium brand and thinking that Ultium is the brand of vehicles. I don't
like
know.
these are
I
all
don't
new
know.
vehicles.
It doesn't make any sense as to why, but
Right.
they're
Because even if
chopping it. So
yeah, even if they did a case where they just destroyed the market research on one country, you just use a different name in that one country. You wouldn't cancel all of them. Something's up with that, especially now that they, like you said, they have finally got it underway. They've got it on. The trucks are doing well. The Equinoxes, the Bright Drop is even moved directly into the Chevy brand, more accessible,
yep.
and you'll be able to buy it at your local dealer. You don't have to have a you have to buy it through the fleet plan because not every dealer participates in that, or
Yep.
if they do, it's harder. Yeah, I guess we'll have to watch this one play out. It's just weird to me. And where's my notepad at? Let's look at another one from Inside EVs, and then this one I know you've seen from Irvine. That's not from Irvine. That's from Inside EVs. From Irvine, the Irvine PD adds Tesla Cybertruck to fleet and debuts with it.
Yeah.
I know if that came up behind me, I'd pull over.
It's a bit intimidating, isn't it?
Yeah,
And actually, if you were watching some of the outtakes of the 1010 event, there
yeah,
was a Cybertruck with police lights outfitted at that
yeah.
event,
Was it
driving
this one or a
around.
different one? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. They didn't get a close up that I could see the badging on it, but it was
Yeah.
definitely outfitted with police lights.
Yeah. I wonder if they just borrowed it from Unplugged Performance. Like, hey, we give you all this inside access. Let's borrow your truck for the
Maybe,
night.
maybe, yeah.
We need your demo. Oh, sure. Yeah. We'll sell more this way. Um, but what's cool about this is it's not actually going to be patrol, although I think that would be a good use for it. It's going to be part of the DARE program, kind of the anti-drug, kids stay in school, don't smoke, that sort of program. And this will draw attention, and I think it'll be effective for that. Like, hey, if you stay sober, you can drive one of these as your work vehicle. But at the same time, we've seen how well they do it multiply.
Well, keep in mind, Casey, the vast majority of people that are waiting for their Cybertrucks are waiting for the non-foundation version.
Oh, that
They're
part.
waiting for that truck to come down in price, and that's when it's going to be much more competitive for police departments to have that vehicle join their fleet as well.
Great point. Because if I, as a taxpayer, look in and saw that you spent 120 on a beast, there'd be discussion. It's like, why did you overpay for this thing?
Yep.
You don't need the first one. So that's a good point as well. And that's just me. Like you look at all the people who were mad that they bought Model Ys and Model 3s, base models, didn't realize that they weren't luxury cars. So
I'm waiting to hear from Chief Todd out in Baggersville, Indiana,
yeah,
for him to tell us if they're
they got
considering one, because of course they've completely Teslaized their fleet. It'll
excellent.
be interesting to see. He initially said when the Cybertruck was first rolled out, Chief Todd had told us that no, that's too intimidating. We don't want to scare the population. So
Give me to
it'll
the
be
SWAT
interesting
team.
to see if his viewpoint changes over time.
Yeah, I'll start with the SWAT team and bring it down. I'm curious if that will affect
Oh, I
the
think I pronounced it wrong. It was Bargersville,
Bargersville.
I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
I wonder if this will affect the upfit cost because now you don't have to get the for the ones that you want armor plated. You don't have to get as much of the inserts put into the door cards. Um, and if the windows are already, some of them have bulletproof windows, some of them don't. I imagine that this won't be as affected by it. And then you've got, you know, another function they do is like during command and control, you've got a hurricane came through, tornado. You've got the power share right there, so it makes it a little easier to say that still remains in the bus, but now the bus doesn't need to run the gas generator or diesel generator. You can plug it into one of the cruisers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity with this. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see
Good point.
how everybody uses it. But with the 48 volts, I think that will make some of the it'll make some of it more difficult. But then it's also got all that just regular household power on board, so I think it's gonna be I think it'll be a challenge for the first few that the upfitters do if they're just in that 12-volt automotive world. But if they're already just into electronics and computers and just like, fabrication, I think they'll have a blast with this. Yeah. And then on X we had Lucid, mid-size Model Y competitor. Everything we know. They're in a weird place. 'Cause,
Well,
they're not
Lucid is striving for what Tesla has already done, right? So
yes.
Lucid now has the very expensive top rung car, and they've sold it to a good amount of people, but they know that market's limited,
Yeah.
limited by the cost of getting into that market. So absolutely, they're looking for a mid rung. They're looking for a low rung. I'm sure they're looking at all the options to bump up their volume, to use more of the parts from maybe the top line car into the medium car, and get some more cost effectiveness going. Just like Rivian is they're trying to balance that thing too. They're trying to balance not Osborning themselves with a vehicle that needs every bit of profit it can get by producing a mid-tier car. It's it's a real tough balancing act to do, because you can't just lower the price. You have to lower the price and be profitable and provide enough cars that service the market you're after.
Exactly, and be able to service them so they don't need to be coming back every week. That's as
Yeah.
we saw with Fisker. They uh, speaking of them, there's it looks like they're gonna still honor the warranty parts, but they're trying not to honor the warranty labor, which in many areas runs afoul of the law. And it'll be interesting to watch how this all plays out. We also saw that the company that bought all their leftover stock, um, automotive stock, not stock market stock, uh, they are in court now, or on the way to court, because Fisker said they can't turn over the cloud infrastructure, and that wasn't disclosed during the sale or any of the process up until they got their first couple cars dropped off, and like, all right, now how do we program our own keys, or how do we do this or that? It's like, Oh, what do you mean? Oh,
Yep, still some hurdles to cross there.
yeah. I mean, we don't wish this on anybody. The more options, the better, because then everybody's butt is an electric seat. But it's just the practical reality is the automotive industry has never been friendly to be in, and there are going to be more casualties. But hopefully, they don't hurt the customers, and hopefully, the people who land there can find other employment. Got oh, this one we'll like. Giger Berlin has produced their 400,000th Model Y.
Yep, another milestone. Berlin has been embroiled in controversy from the start, but they're still pushing out vehicles, which is good. And of course, we've got that increase in production that's in the wings. It's starting to be done. Um, we still have the issues with some of the protesters. We still have
Yes,
issues with people saying they're using too much water when they're not. We
too much
have
super and
we
calling it
have
water.
yeah, we have uh, we have labor unions concerned about absenteeism at Giga Berlin
Yeah,
for workers.
that one
There's a
was
lot of
interesting
stuff.
there.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff that's in flux there. But if
there
they
is.
keep pushing out the vehicles, that's going to help smooth it going forward.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we've got in here about the union workers and the absenteeism, which was pretty cool. And so we discussed this one on the Tesla Live. So I will just tell you to go watch that episode, and then we'll move on. And that was about the mobile superchargers on wheels. There's an undocumented change in FSD version 12.5.6. There are smoother visualizations thanks to a 4-year-old bug being fixed. And that bug is a very old one, yes, indeed. Hardware 3 going all out. Out never for us. Don't worry. It get too long if it's a 4-year-old bug. My brother's car just got its first update to FSD in years. And if he hadn't hit update, or his wife hadn't hit update, or when they did, they would have never had FSD until the summer update. So they've got MCU 1.
Hmm.
So because we fixed a 4-year-old bug in the rendering, I wonder why that is. So all of this was saying that the displays are smoother, they don't jiggle around, and they feel as at 60 frames per second. So I think that's a big
So you're
success.
saying the day of the dancing cars visualization is over.
That's what they suggest. But they also tell us how smooth and intervention free their drives are. So I will want to see it myself. Just being realistic. I think this is another copy of the same thing, but because of the way that the Twitter goes for me, I didn't want it, or X, I didn't want it to get separated. Somebody is running a car's engine at high rev next to me. That's a car, not a piece of lawn equipment. If you hear it, and that's concerning because you,
Your
you know.
audio is keeping it masks. I'm not
Oh
hearing
wow,
it.
I love the stunner. But it's basically like they're getting not quite high enough that you're getting ready to like do a drag race, but enough that you don't ever let your revs get that high if you're not actually moving. Spotted Model Y, Spotted Model says, if somebody sees this, I'd love to see a T-Mobile SpaceX network name in the screenshot. So SpaceX detailed to us what happens when now the the FCC has allowed them and T-Mobile to do their tests early for emergency use because we just had two gigantic natural disasters, and since a good chunk, but not enough for the service to go online, a good chunk of the Starlink satellites have the mobile cell tower on them. They were able to broadcast the emergency alerts, the hurricane coming or tornado in your section, duck and cover, They blast them out to everybody's phone, no matter what your carrier is, especially if there's not another tower to service you. And then if you're a T-Mobile customer, they've got text messages mostly working. You might have to resend them, but the way that you'll know is in addition to the thousands of kits, T-Mobile activated our direct-to-cell satellites to provide emergency alerts for all phones and carriers in those affected areas. The other thing to remember here is just because it's T-Mobile and only T-Mobile customers doesn't mean that only T-Mobile customers. If you've got a MVNO like Google that runs on T-Mobile, or if you've got a company that does roaming agreements with T-Mobile and doesn't lock out their roaming agreements from being inside the U.S., that may snatch your phone as well. So don't be surprised to see this happen. So they've enabled basic SMS for those on T-Mobile phones in hurricane-affected areas, and text messages have already been sent and received. You can text loved ones, text 911. This is going to depend on your area. If your 911 has 911 text, and T-Mobile offers it, but if you're roaming T-Mobile and your provider doesn't offer it, it might not get there. So be careful. If a phone connects to a Starlink satellite, it will have 1 to 2 bars of signal, and it will show T-Mobile SpaceX in the network name. Users may have to go manually retry text messages if they don't go through at first, as this is being delivered on a best effort basis, and the service works best outdoors and occasionally works indoors near a window. This is based on signal strength, and again, just the number of birds they have in the air that actually have a cell tower on board is like, how many are they doing? Like 1 or 2 per launch that have the equipment? Not the whole fleet, basically.
Yeah, they got to upgrade the fleet as time goes along.
Yeah, but I mean, this makes sense though. The Starlinks stay up what 5 years each if they don't push them down first, if they don't have a failed launch, and it just makes sense. This way, they can get the data they need for what the mobile carriers want and what the customers expect. Because if it doesn't even work for text messaging and you put it on all the birds, you've wasted a lot of money. But if it's almost there and they're like, hey, we just need you to add a little more boost to the signal, or add a little bit more memory to handle this amount of traffic at once, then they can make that change as the same way the other Musk companies do, and make it on the fly while they're in production. So I think that's probably a safe way to do this. And I'm glad to see that the FCC let them do this early. Like SpaceX and T-Mobile said, hey, we could help. What do you say? Oh yeah, come on in. It was smart. And yeah, if you can help out over there, they've got some programs. Just make sure that it's legit and not a scam. And I'm sure they'll appreciate it out there. Speaking of folks coming out with new cars, not just Fisker, we've got Zeekr has expanded their EU presence by launching in Norway. A very smart place to launch if you've got an EV. They're beginning with 2 new EV models. Let's take a quick look at them. They don't. I think my dad showed me this one. He's like, that looks pretty good. And let's see what they're called and if they got a range on them or anything. They got the 001 shooting brake and the X SUV. Oh.
I got to work on those names.
Yeah, I like the first one. The second one sounds like they might have some trouble getting into some markets with that name. It doesn't look bad from the back either. It looks like it'd be one of the ones that holds luggage a little better. Interesting choice to make the high mount pop up over the car, but it could also house a camera or a LiDAR or something like that, making that necessary, or an antenna of some sort. It's a 5-year, 100,000-kilometer warranty. That's not bad. 99% introductory financing. Okay. And they're partnering with Plug Surfing, which would give its European customers over 800,000 charging points across the continent via the Zeekr Charge app. And deliveries are expected to commence in Norway before the end of the year. So I guess we should be looking for Bjorn to show us this thing.
Yep.
If he hasn't already. He really amped up the amount of production, and I haven't been able to keep up. We got me saying something. Who knows what? I say a lot of stuff. Yes. So I was responding to Honda's plans: simulated shifting, VR passengers, and leaderboards. And again, just like I said with Hyundai and with whoever copied them after I made fun of Lexus for doing this, if I still don't get it, but after we saw what happened with the Hyundai Ioniq N, it brought out a new group of people who were not into EVs at all. They've been exposed to it. They love it. It's fun for them. I still don't get it because everything they've done is make it worse as far as performance is concerned. But if that's what makes it fun and that's what makes them buy this instead of some gas monster, it must be done. And I guess I should also take back my making fun of Lexus for doing it. And instead of I should have said that they didn't present a use case or any target customer, whereas Hyundai, it was instant. Like the day it launched, you saw all the car reviewers just loving it. The people that were just around, like, hey, sit in this car. What do you think? And they rev. And, oh, this is awesome. Take it to a car show. Lexus didn't do any of that, but I guess at the same time, who is excited about a Lexus in that way, like performance? And there are some, but it would have been hard to market that. Like they want the luxury, they want quiet, they want inoffensive, and this is not that customer.
True.
Yeah, so Honda's getting on board with this, and I just had a little quip because I still don't get it, and I said, but whatever it takes to ease the hesitant on those, even if it's a huge plastic horse bus on the front of their car.
Yep,
Uh,
exactly.
and so for those of you who
Remember,
aren't aware,
remember with Tesla and the difference between China and here with the karaoke.
oh, that's true.
It's so popular in China that they're actually providing the dual mics to use
Multiple
within the
track.
car to combine with karaoke. Here in
Nice.
North America, you can now get the mics that just happened, but it's not as big of a thing as it is in China.
Yeah, I wonder if this will help in the Korean cars because it's pretty big over there too.
Maybe.
If they include it or if they make them pay for it.
You mean the mics or the fake
Yeah,
horse?
the mic. Uh, oh, but this was a patent proposal, or I guess it was granted or at least submitted for Horsey Horseless. And when I realized that it actually had a name, that made me realize that Bodie McBoatface is not new, despite the fact that the older folks were complaining about the name. Like this is over 100 years ago,
Exactly. Exactly.
so nothing new under the sun.
Kacey, I got to bow out.
Okay, yeah, thanks for coming.
I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner that we're going to be
Sweet.
having this evening, even though Thanksgiving's tomorrow. But
Oh,
I wish everyone a happy Canadian Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you soon.
yeah. Oh, I realized that there's a connection to your early Thanksgiving and what we do. We have Columbus Day tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thought is that Canadian Thanksgiving is a little bit earlier because we have a slightly shorter growing season. That's the thought. But
That way, you don't eat all your crop.
yeah,
Like we
yeah.
need ration this.
All right, everyone. Have a
Thanks, Mark.
great day. Bye
See
bye.
you on Express and on Wednesday.
Yep.
All right. So on this one, I just basically put that it was the Horsey Horseless from 1899, and so let's see what we've got coming up next. We've got uh, this one's coming from Green Car Reports. What's all that noise out there? What's all that noise out there? What's all that noise out there? Oh, the car broke already? She just got that car. Yeah, I heard it making too much noise. Hmm, okay. Now we know what's going on out there. So we talked about the GM dropping Ultium. Like I said, I didn't take the time to flesh these back out from just links. They they used to have descriptions on them, so I knew what they were. Uh, the best electric cars priced under 50,000. So we'll skim through their top 5, I suppose. And it's to be found over at Inside EVs. And while we wait for that to load, we'll see what's next in our list. We've got another one from Drive Tesla Canada. And oh man, I even put a note on the one after that. I said last week we spoke about attendance at Giga Berlin, and I didn't catch Mark on that one. Let's see, we've got Justice as possible update. Can't update the original post, but removal of the Model 3 from the referral program is only in Canada, not in the US. So, uh, yes, if you use Mark's code or my code or anybody, and you're in Canada, you can't use it on the Model 3 anymore for the time being. Breaking. Tesla has removed the Model 3 from the referral program in Canada. The S, X, and Y remain eligible. And then eventually, Cybertruck will end up on a program, but uh, don't hold your breath for it. There's a lot of stuff they can do before they put it in there. I suspect maybe next year, not next calendar year, but like next model year. So we're talking 2026. I'll expect it to be in there. Maybe this time next year. Yeah. Uh, Inside EVs is loaded. So the best electric cars priced under 50. Let's look at the top 5. Model Y was in there on the picture. Hyundai Ioniq 6 at 37. Nice. Model Y in Quicksilver. The Model Y is next at 44.9. 44,990. A little different. That's almost 48 or almost 45. This one is a GM. Looking at this steering wheel. Oh yeah, right there. Chevy Equinox EV 3RS. So the Chevrolet Equinox EV. Tesla Model 3. 42,490. Interesting. I'm guessing it was a value proposition why they put the Y ahead of the 3. I'm also seeing they got categories here like best long range EV, best value EV, best crossover. Okay, so is that 5 yet? I don't know. We'll just do one more. And the not Chevy, the Subaru Solterra first drive. Best EV for light off-roading under 50,000. Really? Is it? I disagree with that assessment. But 44,995, Subaru Solterra. And this one and its siblings, the clones, are a mixed bag. If you like them, go for it. If you ask me to recommend them, they're not even on my list. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but there's just so many other choices I would recommend to you before we get there. Now, if you tell me I only buy Subarus, I'd be like, Solterra, right? Let's go. Uh, so, like I said, we were going to talk to Mark about this. This was Tesla is going to permanently hire 500 temporary workers at Giga Berlin. So you're going to get a conversion from temporary to permanent, which will hopefully help the attendance. It'll make the union folks a little happier, and we'll see what happens with it. Because that was one of the things I was saying is you're going to need more people if you've got this many people out. Tesla says the West Shore Royal Canadian Mounted Police add the Ford Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning to complement their Model Y patrol car. So they're going to try out and see what works best for each scenario, and also I guess have an alternate supplier situation going as well. And this is good to see. Electrify all the things. We've got Musk said something. What did he say? He was talking to us about Starlink direct-to-cell phone emergency services will work with existing cell phones, so no extra hardware is required, and he is debunking some FUD. Alex quote tweeted, or picture tweeted, Anonymous says he didn't know a Starlink antenna plus Wi-Fi router is required to receive Starlink's high-speed internet service from space. He probably also thinks that Tesla gives free electric vehicles when it offers free supercharging in preparation for a hurricane. It's a little harsh assessment, but Thankfully, Elon also pointed out that that wasn't all they were doing in the area. Uh, you know how Elon Musk said he's giving free Starlink to hurricane victims for 30 days? Just another scam. Check out the fine print. A Starlink kit is required to access the service. I mean, did you think you could hold out your hand and just hold the bits and access the internet that way? So what's happening here is FEMA and a lot of individuals are donating kits, and as always, whenever Elon donates something, there's a lot of controversy over where it's actually coming from, who's paying for it, that sort of thing. But there are some SpaceX sourced kits on the ground. However, they got there. They weren't just FEMA. They weren't just individuals saying, "Hey, here's 3 Starlinks. Here's 50 Starlinks." They do have a program we discussed to order extras than the large quantity that they bumped you up to. I think it was 20, 25 we talked about. And after that, you had to get in touch with Starlink to get a pallet or get a truck and get it where you needed to go. But what's happening there is that however you get the kits, you get 30 days, which was expanded now to the end of the year, uh, free service of Starlink, which will automatically roll with a warning, automatically roll into Starlink residential service when the free um, period has ended. So, as with many things, you have to look at when somebody says something to just really pull your emotions. Why did they write it this way? Who are they? What are they trying to do? That's not all the questions you need to ask, but that's the start. And and here we see it's more nuanced than that. It's not spaceman bad. It's not they got you. It's a scam. There's a legit situation with it. If you go to Best Buy or Walmart, Target, Costco, and I don't think Target's a participant, but any of the ones that are participating, and you buy yourself a Starlink kit off the shelf, you don't have to activate it. I mean, you don't have to activate the paid side of the service if you're in the zone. It'll just work until the end of the year. If somebody gives you one, the same situation. And then, of course, the government did buy and bring some. I don't know that they gave any of theirs to citizens. They're the ones that FEMA and the government were bringing, um, at least initially, were to get the evacuation centers back online. But with the amount that they claim to have bought, there's got to be some of them ending up in other uses than just shelters. That's what it looks like. Speculation on my part. They bought a lot of them, and they did start out with an incredibly low amount of them. They had like 42. They're like, hey, we did 2 in this school and 2 in that shelter and 2 over here, uh, which still goes pretty decent way. 42 divided by 2, you get 22 sites. And if everybody's not trying to like stream Netflix on their phones, then I don't think most of them were because you still also had to conserve your battery. I think that in that case, it was sufficient to let a lot of folks know, hey, we're online. Here's a Facebook post or an X tweet or just the small simple messages to let your family know that you are still here. And then as time goes on, you can expand it to more stuff. Just like their seed money to get you started. It's like whatever the complaints were, it was that much money. Uh, but it goes up to $42,000 if I understood the vice president correctly, and as needed. So if you've got insurance and you've got the 750, 250, whatever it was to get you some groceries and some water and some clothes and a new phone charger, and then at that point they can get with you about getting you back in your house or helping you get that deductible made so they can start fixing on your house. I think I think that's fair. I mean, with 42 grand, that'll take care of even if you were underinsured. Not everybody, and not to 100% by any means, but that's where I'm saying where you need to at what's coming at you. If they're like, oh, it's only this, and then you're done. Um, that wasn't the case. that wasn't the case. I don't imagine that everybody can get the full 42, but it tells us there's actually a story in the middle for the rest of the folks to get back on their feet. It's not what this is about, so no gas. So this one was something that we've been discussing forever. Elon suggested we get it on Cybertruck, along with the 500-mile range, 39,000, all that. The R1T is getting a new solar-powered tonneau cover to go further and do anything. I think this is smart. If you're just parked out and about, you could be at a campsite for a week, and you could at least offset your use of the Rivian Camp Kitchen, or perhaps you're a real minimalist camper and you just park this thing at the trailhead, and now you have all the miles that you used to get to the trailhead back when you're ready to leave. It's something that Aptera pointed out to us. Is, even the 1,000-mile Aptera has a plug on it, and it wasn't a dig at the Robotaxi because you can still externally charge that thing if it were solar powered somehow. This is just bonus miles. You already had to have a tonneau cover. Why not use it for something else? And then even the bifacial panels are kind of something to look through. So I get not making it your roof because it's something else to look up and see sky. But the tonneau cover was wasted space essentially. Now it's doing two jobs. It's cover to protect your gear, and it's also generating a little bit of power. Let's see if they give us any specs on it. I don't think they did. The Rivian's electric work truck, or electric pickup truck, is getting new accessories. The Work Sport is releasing an aftermarket accessories for the Rivian's R1T, including its solar-powered Solus tonneau cover. Known for its tonneau covers for trucks, Work Sport is quickly expanding its lineup, and the company announced plans to develop aftermarket accessories specifically for the R1T this week. Worksport said its existing tonneau cover lineup fitted for the Rivian R1T is almost complete, and the covers are designed to improve efficiency, protect the vehicle against outside elements, and provide safe space to store stuff. You can get up to 650 watts of clean energy. That's not bad. Uh, at noon, because the Rivians tend to level themselves, but I guess you could park on a hill or something. I don't know. But it's better than nothing. Combined with its core battery system, so it doesn't charge the main pack. That's fine. Uh, you'll have something like a solar generator, basically a battery pack that can then has an inverter or DC ports. It's fair. Even better though is if it also has a J1772 or NAX, both connection that you can then feed it into the truck. Combined with the core system, the Solus cover can harness solar energy and store it for use later. The bundle could be used to upgrade your next camping trip, worksite, or anywhere off grid. Nice. And if this is really good, and even though it's aftermarket, you could see Rivian offering it. Uh, Top comment by Ken Kuhn, or Hugh Kuhn. Sorry, wow. Uh, Folks keep whining about how this won't add mileage, but you don't really need it. The solar cover is not to charge the truck for range, but to charge another utility battery, which can be used to run an induction stove, camping lights, a tent, AC, or a plethora of other devices without stealing range. Like I just said. If it were a first party, people would expect it to add range. They don't have to, but they would expect it. Rivian R1T is not the only one to get their attention. They announced that they were developing a solar and battery storage system for the Lightning. All right. So we might see them also try the Cybertruck when they get ambitious. That one's a lot harder to get in there. Oh, that's nice. GMC quietly reveals 2025 Sierra EV Denali with $10,000 lower starting price. Yesterday. We'll open that one. Uh, Yesterday I was out. We had a Tinder reveal party for the new baby. Another girl. Komatsu launches a 400-ton electric mining excavator. Okay, that's cool. What's here is it's a major brand, Komatsu. I'm smelling gas. And that car that was driving is gone. So maybe it's a little gas combined with spices. My wife's cooking too. Chem power chargers installed using only electric construction equipment. That is cool. Electrify all the things. And it sure seems like the Optimus bots at Tesla event were under human control. Yeah, yeah, it felt that way. I'm curious their angle on this. And I'm still curious, like if they had like functions or if it was fully remote. But I do believe that they had humans operating the speakers and mics. One piece of information was a little information on Optimus. After unveiling the vehicles, went on to give us a bit of information. I must mention we started with someone in a suit, and then we progressed dramatically year after year as several robots walked out of the crowd. I do believe that part was not um, motion capture. I think that was literally a go walk command. Whether it was you here, go there, or hey, we're this part of the program. We need you to go to this part of the program, and it was like rehearsed or whatever, and they knew, all right, now is the part where I go over here. The truth is, it doesn't really matter. But it was weird. They were doing doing any of the voice interaction stuff over remote. Uh, he referred to these as your own R2D23C3PO. And in that long term, these robots would cost less than a car, specifically $20,000 to $30,000. Video also described them as an autonomous assistant humanoid friend, uh, which could be used for basically any task you can think of. And I wrote a long post on this. Somebody suggested that the U.S. won't want any help, and I pointed out that in the U.S. it may be weird, or not weird, but may have a stigma about having domestic help, but it's not unheard of. And then around the world, it's much more common to have some level of domestic help, and it not be weird. You mentioned, hey, I was sitting down with lunch with the maid and and and, and, and the gardener, and we came up with this joke, blah blah blah. Whereas here, even if you have the gardener and the maid and the bodyguard, uh, they're supposed to be invisible and not talked about. It's I don't know. And then they really expect you to be really rich before you can get there. And I mean, other than nannies are a little different there. But so my point was like he thought it was weird, but that I think there's more of a market for this. And once that stigma of having another human in your home is not there, I think you'd be surprised the amount of people who love some help washing the dishes and folding laundry and whatever else. Like I think they had Optimus cutting the grass as one of their examples. So, and then I also pointed out this must have there be an age of abundance where the cost of everything could drop dramatically. He said this before his policy shift, and then he said it again that
I
night.
missed something. Can you say it again?
Nobody's talking to you. Cancel. Thank you. And the age of abundance. So he said it again that night. So now I'm wondering. This is what I said in the piece. Like, is he still going for UBI, or is he going to be like the old '80s, '90s Japanese megacorp where they own everything? We make the soybeans and the fish and the ship and the computer and the tractor and the truck. I don't know. The other thing I suggested was maybe it doesn't matter that his new friends would absolutely hate a a world of abundance and do everything to stop that because I pointed out that Nikola Tesla had the same struggle. He wanted wireless electricity for free around the world, and his backers wanted to charge for it, and it was not easy to meter that sort of thing back then. So they pull their investment. It's not exactly what happened, but that's how the story comes down. Really, what it is I bet that they just didn't see in his continued investments and inventions, and as he got older and died destitute. Um, I think they were just not liking some of the later inventions, perhaps, or maybe they're taking too long. I don't know, but I don't think that it was just because they couldn't meter it. Because if you can invent wireless electricity, you can invent a box that goes like this and it counts down every kilowatt hour, just like we have right now with the regular electric meters. So I questioned that, and I think that on the whole, this will be good for society as far as the labor multiplication efforts of it all. Just like he said, you could have a fleet of robotaxis. I would definitely like a fleet of Optimus to do some stuff for me. Not just as a domestic, but like I could think of plenty of business cases where go do that. And an ex friend of mine, not former, but a friend of mine on X, pointed out that um, they're by design not going to be the best for whatever it is I put them to, or I would consider putting them to. Yeah, they're not a KUKA robot, but they don't cost the same either. Like 20 to 30 grand is less cheaper than $3 million plus technician time, programming, and now it only does one thing. So if I change my process, it can't do what I need to do anymore without reprogramming, retooling. It's not the same for something that's designed to work in our world. Excuse me. I was pointing out the hands there. One of the warnings to show tonight was that Optimus is not a canned video, not walled off. The Optimus robots will walk among you. Please be nice to the Optimus robots so that you'll be able to walk right up to them and they'll serve drinks at the bar and you'll directly, I mean, it's a wild experience just to have some humanoid robots and they're there just in front of you. Somebody else pointed out in one of their observations that whether or not this was as implied or if it was a lot more Disneyland, that does still show an improvement over what we've seen in the past development of Optimus. The fact that they're willing to let them out, stand around in public. Yes, there were handlers everywhere, but you know, you probably still got to get close enough to do the good old Boston robotics shove and see what happens. And not that if you get a chance to be around Optimus, do not do that. But if somebody had done that, I suspect that it would have caught its balance, and you would have been close enough that the handlers would not have been able to stop you. Um, So the liability to them, like the risk of these expensive bots, is there where they're not concerned with it. But the liability from them, where say one of these bots comes out and steps on your foot, uh, imagine that they're not lightweights. So that suggests a certain level of confidence of both them and their insurance, or if they're self-insured, them again. So it may not be exactly what we were intended to see, but it's definitely still an improvement. He then ended the speech by throwing to a group of humanoids dancing in a gazebo, not unlike a video made by Honda 10 years ago. So, the robots did all have a Tesla employee minder watching them closely, but visibly holding some sort of signal device in their hands. I wonder if that was like that's classified. Uh, I wonder if it's like some of the other where it's like some of these like the consumer bots like you'd say follow me and you'd have to wear this like transponder, this Bluetooth transponder, and then like the little dog would know where you were, or like with the robot lawnmowers, you trace out a path or put a wire down. I wonder if this was just a beacon to identify that yes, I'm the employee you should be tracking. Um, Visibly holding some sort of signaling device in their hands. In the video, you can see some of the employees operating this device. Official Tesla video, which had no audio as music was playing over it, showed few robots serving drinks, and these were not the custom mixed drinks. They're just merely choices of pre-mixed drinks served up from the beer tap. And they did okay with it, but they looked like children doing it. The bots seemed to do successfully enough, although they were somewhat wobbly while serving the drinks, which seemed odd, as if the robots weren't at all that great at balancing themselves or their motions weren't properly damped or something. These are still being worked on. But then attendees started posting videos from the event, and something seemed off. There's one about John that just they really railed against. I wonder if this will be the same one. Departure from a phone. That's understandable enough. One widely shared video of an employee seemed to trigger Musk's robotaxi departure from a phone. Maybe, but it looked like you could do it from inside the car. Understandable enough, given that Waymo currently operates Level 4 Taxi's interface with the rider's phone to unlock the car. Okay, well, I can see that, yeah. Stranger interactions were with the Optimus bots that walked among us crowd. It turns out the robots each had their own voice and could be talked to. So you can make a drink order or even just have a conversation with the bots that were walking around the crowd. I'm going to hit play on this, see what it's like, and then unmute it if it's safe. I still muted up. Okay, good. I'm still muted on the cable. Perhaps they were too impressive because these conversations certainly seem to have a human on the other side of them.
There you go, sir. Thank you so much. Remember, B160 number 1.
It says, there you go, sir. Remember B160 number 1. And here's the one with John. I don't know if it's got music in it or not.
Optimus.
Okay, here we go.
Optimus.
It's not. Or if it is, it's not registering. Go to the sound panel. Not tweets. Sound. It says it's using the virtual cable. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not.
Optimus. People here today. It's insane. It's even talking.
Say hi to my friend John. John? Where's John?
Right here.
Oh, hello, John.
Not
How are
tweets.
you?
Sound.
That's crazy. I'm talking to a robot. From San Jose. Probably from where you were born in Silicon Valley.
Wonderful. Where do you live in San Jose? Do you live in Almond Valley or do you live in Santa Teresa area?
No, I live in Los Gatos.
Los Gatos. Oh, wonderful. Very
Yeah.
nice area.
Where do you live?
Beautiful hiking I hear out there.
There is. Where do you live?
I live in Palo Alto at the current moment.
Figures. Yeah,
Yes.
this is awesome.
That's where they train us. That's where we get our builds, and that's where we work with the
That part right there. That's a human, like,
What's the
get our
hardest
bill.
thing about being a robot?
And John's like, it's a robot.
trying to learn how to be as human as you guys are.
And then the guy's like, wait, what? I just told you I'm not a robot.
Do every day, and I hope that you will
He's like, all right, I'm Santa Claus.
become that way.
Well, awesome. Nice to meet you, Optimus.
You as well.
Scratching his head like, I guess I'm Santa Claus now. That interaction was interesting. Robert Scoble said to talk with an engineer. When it walked, it was AI running Optimus, as I suspected. It was really impressive that they brought so many out in crowds at Tesla's event. Let's make a drink, please. It's not wholly AI. A human is remote assisting. Okay. Which means the next AI day next year, we'll see how fast Optimus is learning. And they'll probably all sound the same, or they'll have like just a couple different voices like we see with these assistants today. He also said it would result in an age of abundance where the cost of everything would drop dramatically. I mean, it will do that. If it is priced the way he says and works as good as he says it will. Considering that fact, Musk's name for last night's event, We Robot, was a crude ripoff of Asimov's I, Robot, perhaps Musk should reread Asimov's novels to get a reminder that widespread robots was bad for the people they were supposed to be helping. Is that what you got out of it? That's not what I got out of it. It was a cautionary tale for sure. In particular, I'm thinking of the planet where everyone lived isolated from each other. Okay, yeah. Although maybe Musk finds that dystopian vision more appealing than the rest of us did. A socially isolated planet would drive a lot of Twitter traffic. Okay, that alone would be the ulterior motive for his new reputation. Okay, let's get back on track. Sometimes it's like, do I mess with these comments or not? It's not like day one edition is still a rare sight on the roads. I think there's like 15 of them at the dealership around the corner from this place. GM hasn't stopped rolling out the 440-mile range, a base price that's 10,000 lower than the 24. Three-letter Bandit fans who've missed out on the Sierra Denali Edition 1 have about 10,000 reasons to be excited this week. Ultium Base 2025 Silverado EV work truck. GMC quietly added 25,000. Oh, sorry, 2025 Sierra EV Denali to its website with MSRP of just $89,990. And that price might still be a tough pill to swallow. It's nearly 10,000 less than the 24 Sierra EV Denali Edition 1's starting price of $99,495, including $1995 DFC. Destination. The destination charge, basically. DFC. I never heard it called that. Distinguished Flying Cross is not that. Perhaps more interestingly, there isn't much of a mention, so much as a mention from the 2025 Sierra EV about the company's news site as I type this. It's like the Microsoft product launch that happened this week, according to my app, that doesn't appear anywhere, not in my account, not on their website, and the links that it had didn't go to anywhere or anything useful. Continuing on, about halfway there. This one is, she's a lot of spices and whatever she made, probably a soup. Tesla Semi exceeds expectations in 3,000-mile DHL trial. During the 2-week trial, the Tesla Semi averaged 1.72 kilowatt hours per mile while operating at average speeds over 50 miles per hour. Of one test, did 390 miles while fully loaded with a gross combined weight of 75,000 pounds, which is significantly over what it should be carrying. Yeah. Starting to look like they're going to be production restrained for quite some time, yeah. Electric semis never work. Bill told me already. It's more efficient than the Hummer EV, and that is scary. You got a whole semi-truck pulling a full-loaded cargo van, and it's better than this pickup truck in efficiency. Typically, your pickup truck will do better than the semi-truck, but apparently not here. And that's not to say that the semi-truck is bad at what it does. It's big. It's hauling a lot of weight. Like if you were to try and haul the same weight with the truck, if the frame wouldn't fall apart on a pickup truck, it would do very poorly. But the fact that this one's doing better as a whole assembly on a unit for unit basis I don't think the thumb review is quite that bad on consumption, but it's not doing well. A little better than the previous numbers. Tesla semi efficiency matches that of other semis with half the range, which is very hard to do. Miles, kilowatt hours per mile, 1.8. And the Daimler at 1.9, but it only has 395 horsepower and half the payload and less than half the range. So the way that these guys are doing it is they're lighter. They're lighter and less powerful. Whereas the ones that come closer don't come closer in consumption. So like the Nikola, it has 160-minute charge time. It's got a 330-mile range. And it's burning 2.2 kilowatt hours per mile with just 645 horsepower and 40,000 payload. But again, that's better. We don't know the true payload of the Tesla. And if they were hauling 75, they should not have been doing that. The Daimler, full payload, 51,250. Long charge time. They must be using transmissions on these ones with the lower horsepower. E-Cascadia is much lower in capacity. It does better in range in consumption because it's lighter. I should add windrows to this list. Please add another column and mention the buying price. That would make the numbers change even more because Tesla's probably the cheapest on that list. Here's the translation of the tweet using my metric system. Let's go ahead and look at the article. The DHL was one of the first to order. In a now deleted press release on DHL's website, presumably because it was published ahead of schedule, the company says they tested the semi for over 3,000 miles of normal operations out in their plant in Livermore, California. And during the 2-week trial, the Tesla semi averaged 1.72 kilowatt hours per mile, while operating at the average speeds of over 50 miles per hour, or 80 kilometers per hour. Or that reminds me, I need to go vote. I've got my ballot right here. Our friend Georgia was tweeting about how short we are to the election, and you got it right here. For over half the time it was on the road, it was over 80 kilometers per hour. The figure's in line with the less than 2 kilowatt hours per mile that Tesla advertises as the semi's efficiency. DHL said that one specific test saw the semi cover 390 miles while fully loaded with a gross combined weight rating of weight of 34 metric tons or 75,000 pounds. The company did not say how much battery charge was consumed during that test, only saying that it confirmed the semi's ability to carry typical DHL payloads over a long distance on a charge. The semi has an average sized range of 500 miles or 804 kilometers. That's already been backed up with real world testing. I'm guessing that's Tesla's demo. I wonder if this is that megacharger we saw kind of floating around. If it was involved with this, because remember when they went back to go take pictures of it again, it was gone. Okay. Got some inside AVs. A little something from Electric Co. A little more Drive Tesla Canada on the van. Let's look at the van. I'm obsessed with this thing. I probably never heard the way it is, but it's impressive. Yeah, weird. Just my thing. Elon announced a couple things about this thing, like it has suspension and It could avoid speed bumps and curbs and stuff. It's bigger than Model Y. It's not your typical minivan that we were hoping Tesla might unveil. Fully autonomous. It's going to all out to maximize capacity. Prototype Tesla unveiled on Thursday night was reminiscent of Art Deco trains from the early 1900s, and according to Musk, it can carry up to 20 people. The RoboVan may be, or can also transport goods, which is something I'm really looking forward to, with this thing being the ability to be a cargo van. I'm curious if the trunk will become a ramp, or if you just have to load them in from the side, which is going to require some changes in process and procedure, but with that kind of capacity, it's not unworkable. And then already you do see the existing cargo vans do sometimes load from the side rather than the back, or unload from the side at least. The RoboVan can also transport goods, thus saying it'll be configurable for either use. Hopefully the same one will be for both. Like, you can put seats in, take seats out, mix and match. I gave a few other details, only saying that it would be ideal for high-density travel, which would bring the cost down to 5 to 10 cents per mile, and that the robotaxi would be about 20 cents per mile for the two people. He did not provide any details on pricing or when production might begin. I made a comment on the Tesla Live show like that it sounded expensive, but you have to remember I have free supercharging and nearly free electricity for the car. Details. You can see more images below. So with the 2 rows of 4 and 2 rows of 3, you've got 14 passengers, not 20. Because there were no handholds, like a minibus. The inductive charger and cleaner. Tesla teases Cybercab inductive charging and robot cleaning system. And we're ready for autonomy, charging, cleaning, fleet.
Something we're also doing is, and it's really high time we did this, is inductive charging. So the robotaxi has no plug. It just goes over the inductive charger and charges. So yeah, it's kind of how it should be.
It's kind of cool. Who knows if we'll actually see another robot to do that, or if somebody will use Optimus, but we'll see as this thing gets closer to reality. So with no plug-in charging, the car won't be able to use Tesla's charge that already exists. Yes and no. That's not to say they won't retrofit a pad with a charge on. They've done retrofits plenty of times. Tesla scope status here. Discuss and recap what we learned from tonight's Reroad event. This is coming from Tesla Scope. The Robotaxi Cybercab was unveiled for the first time, closely matching Woodhouse's original design and sketches. Woodhouse is Franz. Cybercab does not have a steering wheel or pedals. Instead, you use the large touchscreen to select or voice where to go. Come with AI 5, an overspec onboard computer with excessive computing, ready to tackle the future. So if the pricing on this that they pay to me is worth it, and outclasses my electric bill, I would definitely be interested in contributing my car's computer to the fleet when it's not driving. Goal is to sell it for 30 grand. Inductive charging will be the only way to charge this vehicle with no plug planned. They also showed off the robot arm capable of cleaning the vehicle, including vacuuming crumbs, cleaning the screen, and removing trash. With tonight's test drives, the riders got to sit back and watch from brief clips of movies such as Dune or playtest arcade games, all the while gracefully navigated near and around other hailed vehicles full of riders. Elon announced the full self-driving unsupervised would tentatively be released next year and starting in California and Texas. It makes sense. Ultimately, as the full self-driving supervised improvements in just 1 year alone, we expect to see, or we suspect that the promising results in the initial states will allow for quick expansion to other states and regions shortly after. Phrasing was initially open to interpretation that may have been confusing. Elon said that all cars, including the Cybertruck, will support unsupervised autonomous driving. Now, as I pointed out during the live show, the way he phrased that, all cars made today, sounded like all the rest of my AI 3 brethren are joining the legacy crew. He didn't say that, but also when people caught that and tried to nail him down, he said, oh, they don't have his quote. But basically, he said, let's not get into specifics right now. Something to that effect. He confirmed this capability would be expanded outside the US as well, once approved by regulators. And this way, what? Fireworks? Fly away? Run this way? Oh. You're going this way? Are you having fun with your song? You want to say hi to everybody? No. No? She said, yeah, I want to just pick up. No. Cybervan was unveiled for the first time. Solved the problem of high density, so you could pick 2 or 20 seats. The goal of these vehicles should change the look of the roads. Elon envisions a future where the cost of generalized products, no longer requiring human labor, will bring the cost down. Yeah, possibly. Elon stated they aimed for the 20 to 30,000. Okay, so check my sugar real quick. Lower end of normal. Mercedes-Benz Van EA. Electric vans spotted in a new teaser. Let's take a look at that. Camo is strong on this one. So it sounds like this one is going to replace the Metris, or at least be an electric Metris. Mercedes said they can even support RVs or versatile all-rounders. Interesting. But it doesn't look big enough to be an RV. But they also say modular electric platform, so maybe the platform will, but this one doesn't. Optimizing range by reducing costs in 4 areas: aerodynamics, drivetrain, and tires and chassis. But if it's aerodynamic and you put an RV on it, things have terrible range. Interesting. Next phase will be winter testing in Sweden ahead of its official debut. Hey, Anders, if you're out and about and you see this thing, snag some pictures of it. Mercedes aims for 20% of van sales to be electric by 2026. Timothy, greetings. Good to see you. Good to see you. We've got, we talked about this van EA, sort of. We talked about Iona, the network that Stellantis seems to think that will solve their problems with not having to join the supercharger network. They unveiled they were joining the NACS. They even said that we've got adapters, but they didn't mention a thing about supercharging. However, as we saw with GM and Rivian, if you have a commercial account, they don't allow you to do the supercharging. But the Tesla app doesn't stop you from using it for supercharging. So we found out that it's just something to do with the way that the GM commercial and fleet app works versus their regular app. And in the case of Rivian, most of the Rivian vans are owned by Amazon, so maybe it just was not a consideration yet, since the rest of them are Rivian-owned vans for service, but not all of them. And they are available for sale elsewhere, or to others anyway. Let's take a look. This is another render like the one we saw last week, near their, like in the parking lot of their headquarters. I clicked it. Why didn't it load? So this render sees us with, they look like pull-throughs, but they're clearly not. And like the passenger in that BZ4X or Solterra, it looks like BZ4X, look like they're gonna get wet. But it is a render, so maybe it doesn't have to make sense. Public fast charging infrastructure needs improvements. Stations are too clogged, blah, blah, blah. Wish them luck. It's the one we looked at last week, was the one in their parking lot at the headquarters. Cyber taxi. Elon. Elon says it's the actual interior of the Robobus van. And this matches up. He's just had a better photographer than most people's cell phones. This is looking in one direction. This is looking the other direction. And those black strips are windows, all of them. The ones on the, you can't see my mouse. The ones on the sides and the top sides. And there it is. I like this. Would like to see what the real thing looks like. We'll find out. Elon Times suggests that this was probably the biggest news of the event, was that confirmations that they'll let individuals manage fleets is the only thing that I'd add. Basically, you're a shepherd tending your flock of sheep. Sam Carls says that you can buy the Cybercab. It's less than 20 cents operating cost, 30 to 40 cents with taxes and fees, starting next year in California and Texas with the 3 and Y, and Cybercab in 2026. Cybercab will will have overspec computer for potential for distributed inference computing, inductive charging, and the robo van can carry 20 people and could transport goods from 5 to 10 cents per mile? Question mark. At scale, the Optimus is 20 to 30 grand, less than a car in the long term. Cybercab wireless charging. He already covered that. Cleaning station, maybe. Vehicles produced. Current vehicles produced would be robotaxi compatible. Okay, that's enough of that. Not that there's anything wrong going on, but they're getting caught up in the excitement. Kim Java, Electric Car Girl, says that Tesla Cybercab fast facts. 30 up to 30 times safer than a human, as is. Production starts in 2026-ish. AI and vision only. No steering wheel or driving pedals. No charge port. It's wireless inductive charging. Starts under 30. And she had a unique angle picture. And they do have the matrix headlights, and they did some cool stuff with it during the event. Those things that happen in 2026. Probably not. It's like the man can't use any timepiece to save his life. From a watch to a work week calendar to monthly calendar to flipping Mayan calendar. These hard packs. My favorite was when he said this weekend, and my car was one of the first to download that particular update on Tuesday in his time zone. Friday to Monday can be argued to be at the end of the week, but Tuesday, 2 weeks. 10 business days equals 2 weeks, and it was still another 6 weeks. Meanwhile, the AI team told us a moderate list of hard stuff and finished within like 3 hours to spare. So, a nuanced interpretation of that. Oh, we do have a recall today. So for our recall segment today, Nissan has recalled 30,000 Leaf EVs for battery fire risk. Let's dig into this and see what's up. In US and Canada, so still probably all Leafs, but they only did US and Canada, unless they have regional, like if it's from the US plant, or if only the US uses this particular battery pack. Let's take a look. According to recall documents posted to Transport Canada and NHTSA, the issue stems from the high voltage lithium-ion battery packs found in Leaf models equipped with the 40 and 62 kilowatt-hour battery packs. So, is that all of them or most of them? I don't know if they have an 80, 82, or whatever larger pack yet. I can't remember. Which Nissan says are susceptible to overheating when DC fast charging. That's amazing because when you look at the way that Nissan severely held back on DC fast charging, the thought that this thing could overheat is scary. The fast charging process can cause the battery to heat up excessively, potentially leading to smoke and heat damage, and in extreme cases, fire. Let's go to Nissan. The problem occurs because the lithium deposits within the battery cells may build up. Ooh, dendrites. And that's why they're just now finding out about it, because they had to get the time and the cycles for this to happen. So, this can lead to a dangerous fluctuation in the battery state of charge, resulting in rapid heating without any visual or audible warning to the driver. Increases the electrical resistance during fast charging. This should still affect them all, even home charging, but I guess home charging doesn't allow the heat to build up enough for it to matter for this recall. Excuse me. While Nissan is still investigating the root cause of this issue, it has taken precautionary steps to minimize risk to owners. Currently working on a software update that will prevent the battery from reaching unsafe temperatures during fast charging. And the update is expected to become available in November 2024 and will require a service visit to be installed. This is a traditional recall. Bring it into the dealer, get an update for software. This car was not built during the era of over-the-air software updates, and it's just a reskin of that 2010 car. Calm down, Kacey. Calm down. You would think, though, that something this long-lived, 2010 to 2024, they might have redone the telematics at some point, so this thing could do OTA of more than just the head unit. Where were we? Dealer visit. In the meantime, Nissan has advised owners not to DC fast charge and to rely on slower level 1 and not nobody, but like not an appreciable amount of people level 1 charge. Level 2 charging methods which pose no known risks. Today, if they're causing problems with DC fast charging because of lithium depositing on the cathode and anode, give it probably a little more time until after they're all well out of warranty. That level 2 charging will heat them up enough to do this as well, if the range doesn't drop too much before then. In the United States, nearly 23,887 Leafs were produced between August of 2018 and November 2020 at Nissan's Smyrna, Tennessee plant are affected. Canada, 6188 units fall under the recall, bringing the total to more than 30,000 in North America. You can read the Transport Canada details here or the NHTSA documents below. I don't want to download it. So this is 2019 to 2020 vehicles equipped with quick charge port. And as I said, it takes time for this to get to this point, so that's probably why just those 2 model years for now. We will see this expand once they figure out what happened. So you've got 3 batteries affected by this, 2 60 kilowatt hour batteries and 1 40 kilowatt hour battery. Component manufacturer was Automotive Supply Corporation, 500 Battery Plant Road in Smyrna. That sounds like a subsidiary rather than a contractor. Nissan will issue an interim owner letter instructing the owners not to use the level 3 charging until the remedy is complete. Nissan is developing a software reprogram that will prevent excessive progression to thermal incident. So they'll just keep your car from getting hot enough to catch fire. Or smoke or spark, whatever they said the other stuff it would do too. The remedy is currently expected to be available in November, so 1 more month. Nissan will not include a statement in the Part 577 owner notification concerning reimbursement for the cost of obtaining a pre-notification remedy, since the subject vehicles are under warranty. And not only are they under warranty, but since this is a software update, they don't want you putting somebody else's software in their car. So they're not going to reimburse you. It's not like with the Chinese valve stems, where if I'd gone and got tires and knew about it and saved my receipt, or I could have got my money back from my failed Prius stems. But say the Prius had an engine starting issue, and I had to bring it into Toyota to get it reprogrammed. That would only be expected to be done at Toyota, free of charge. Okay, so next we've got Tesla Asia, Chazman, Baltimore Sun. This is coming from Dan. The Korea Daily, I believe this is coming from Omar, our Omar. Elon Musk, X, and Tesla Canada. Let's see what loads first. Confirmation from a senior Tesla AI engineer that the Cybercabs were not remotely operated. Coming from Yoon Sai. Remote control is probably the best compliment. I was testing the build until 6 a.m. Just me in the car. Did people actually believe the car was remote controlled? Yes, but There were plenty. I saw them out there. I don't doubt that in an area Tesla mapped every inch of for weeks in advance of the event, for driving around a vehicle at 5 miles an hour, didn't require remote control. Yeah, exactly. We can summon today. And smart summon, and actually smart summon for some of you people. Smart summon for me. And others are talking about the robots being able to teleoperated by humans in VR gear. Talking about the Optimus. How about that? This person. I guess that person had a spicy opinion. Pretty cool. I wonder how much special code was in there, and if the code was special to this event or something that could be utilized in the near future for, say, Boring Company pickups and drop-offs. I certainly hope they made something that would work for Loop if they did some custom code. There you go. There. For those impacted by Hurricanes Helene or Milton, Starlink service is now free through the end of the year to help with response and recovery efforts. Over at starlink.com are the details. Here is the affected area. And take a look. And if that's you, consider Starlink, I suppose. I could throw mine out there and see if they'll give me 2 months of service. I paused mine because we weren't on the road yet, so I got fiber in this building, so it was more expensive. Well, actually, this is more expensive than our fiber, but I retain the hardware so we can pop it up when we're ready, open the app, and say, "Hey, pay." Here we go. Okay, he doesn't need the cheerleading as much as he likes it. He's doing the right thing. Extending the free period through the end of the year for those affected by the hurricanes. And as I said, doing the right thing. Good job. But Hyundai, Kia, and GM Korea to recall more than 600,000 vehicles due to faulty components. This is, was it the battery or the charge controller? The three companies, including Kia and GM Korea, combined have 607,502 units of 10 different models, according to the Ministry of Land and Infrastructure. Problems that prompted the recall include an error in the design of the airbag control. Oh, this is the airbag one. The airbag control units of 31,744 units of 2 Hyundai models, including the Sonata, and 285,327 units of Kia models, including the Forte. Also, 8592 units of the Kia EV9 model are subject to a recall due to a software error in the electronic brake system. This one we already talked about on the brakes. A total of 839 vehicles across 3 models, including the Escalade, imported by and sold by GM Korea, are undergoing corrective measures due to a software error in the electric brake system. So I wonder if that's the gas Escalade or if that's the electric Escalade, and if that affects the ones here. And then Baltimore is poised to begin to ban gas-powered leaf blowers. How will the new laws be enforced? Not very well, but at the same time, it's better than nothing. The first time you get a tut, don't do that, and after that, they'll fine you. I think it was like $250 each time, to the point where if you had to add $250 to each lawn servicing, the customers are not going to like that, and as a business, to be eating $250 fines. Excuse me, to be eating $250 fines would be not very profitable as well. So basically, they want to stop the noise, stop the pollution, and starts the year after next. Baltimore Mayor Scott intends to sign a bill passed Monday that would ban the use of gas-powered leaf blowers within city limits. $250. Phasing in a $250 fine for repeat violations after the law comes into full effect in late 2026. So they're going to start with city and state contractors, and then they're going to move to the general public by 2026. It doesn't include any criminal penalties for violations. Once it becomes a law, the ordinance would be enforced through citations issued by Baltimore police. So these are tickets like a parking ticket, but they're not small. Not small enough that you could just keep doing it. But I do think it's too late because I mean, if somebody's got 20 of these tickets, first version that passed Monday with 2/3 of the city council voting in favor would first prohibit city entities, contractors, and subcontractors from using gas-powered leaf blowers starting December 15th of this year. Private use by people and landscaping companies would only be permitted for the next 2 years during the fall, between October 15th and December 15th. So truly for cleaning up leaves, not for, cleaning up after cutting your grass. And the ordinance would take full effect, fully prohibiting all people from using gas-powered devices after December 15th, 2026. Like I keep saying, it's not a date, it's a bus, and you want to get on the one that gets you closest to where you're going. So electrify all the things. It's not perfect, it's good enough. We've got this expost from Chuck Cook of Chuck Stern. The new profiles in FSD supervised 12.5.6 are called Chill, Standard, and Hurry. Currently, these modes are end-to-end highway only and not city streets, and work in conjunction with the new set max speed. Chill is essentially the old minimal lane changes and will camp in the slower lanes. Hurry is the old aggressive model and will get in the fast lanes and go higher towards the selected max. This is not a setting any longer to have the car go the set speed like you had it in V11. It's not a setting any longer. Interesting. So the set speed just moves what it does. The speed model still selects the recommended speed as no faster than the max speed selected. So you got a max speed offset. Oh, my little 5 mile an hour box disappears. What he's saying. Extended the visualization. Okay. So the max speed offset is what I'm using to make sure my car doesn't get me a DWB ticket or shot to death. The other day, I don't know what got into mine. I cranked the distance setting. On our legacy cars, there's a distance setting for how many car lengths you wanted to go, and it's been mapped to how aggressive FSD is. And so I cranked it. I keep it on 3 or 4. That's why I used to keep it, so that the car didn't get pelted with rocks behind other people, falling behind other people. But I found that if I just click it up 1, that puts me from the middle to assertive. And so I put it in assertive, and it was running like 15 over on the highways. But it was no longer getting stuck behind people just driving like they didn't have anywhere to go. I see Chill, Standard, and Hurry in the screenshot, not average. Yes, you're right. Is this where having this stuff in the release notes would go a long way? Yes, exactly. He admitted to me that they could have been written better. Yes. Whoa. Yeah, we don't talk like that. I mean, if somebody's doing a passing job in a language that they don't speak, and you don't speak with the one language, are you one to talk? I'd dial that back. Referring to the comment that I scrolled off the screen because it was inappropriate. From this insight, is there any reason not to have the vehicle speed offset set at the default 40%? Chuck says, not really. I could think of one. 40% on the highway for me is asking for trouble. He did say that the accelerator would move the speed up, but it would mostly likely degrade back again to what the model thinks is the appropriate speed, which is what we're seeing on 12.5.1.4 that I'm on. .2. What am I on? It updated, and it was no longer 12.5.4, which was easy to remember because it was just 3 numbers. So I'm on 12.5.4.1. And yeah, it will speed up if you tell it to, and then eventually it just goes right back down. Moving on. Giga Shanghai sees 3 million production milestone. So we had, was it 300,000, 400,000 over at Giga Berlin? And now we've got 3 million over at Shanghai. And they specified Model Y for Giga Berlin, but that's all it's ever made. So this is just products right here at Shanghai. So I don't know how many Model Ys they've made here, but we could find out. Am I going to find out? I'm not going to make any effort. But if one of you guys wants to and then tell us, I would certainly be glad to share that around. So here, I want to thank all of you for your time today. I will probably, first I'm going to try some more practice streams with, not right now, some more practice streams with the information that X Premium Support sent me. And if that makes the streams not stutter, I will keep it at 4K for everybody. If that doesn't work, I will bring the whole thing back down to 1080 for YouTube, X, Twitch, and Facebook. So we'll see. I want to thank all of you for your time, and I want to thank our members for your monetary contribution to help keep the lights on this, the streaming bill, all that sort of thing. And catch you on the flip side. Happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends, and happy Indigenous Peoples Day, Columbus Day, day off of work, or at least federal holiday for the remainder of you in the U.S. and the rest of the world. Happy Monday, and we'll catch you on the flip side.